I finished it. It took a lot of willpower, but I finally sat down and I finished the movie Tusk. If you don't know, about a few weeks ago, I decided to watch the movie Tusk. I had seen some TikToks about it, talking about it being a psychological horror movie, and I finally decided that I want to sit down and watch it and see for myself. And I got about halfway through before it made me physically uncomfortable enough to turn it off. Now, I know it's kind of just a goofy movie, like it's about a guy who turns people into walruses because for some reason being a walrus is inherently better. Now let me recap. In the last video I talked about how I managed to get right around to when the big reveal happens where the guy is turned into a walrus, and it made me really uncomfortable. I don't know what it is. In the last video I said it's something about the no hope aspect, essentially. Like this guy's getting turned into a walrus regardless, so there's like no hope for him. And it's definitely kind of a goofier movie. It doesn't really it's not too scary. It makes me uncomfortable. Like when in a lot of horror movies, when they show gore, they give you maybe a few couple seconds, maybe a minute, a minute at the most, if anything, to show you the gore. But it's it's dark. You can't see the whole thing. This gives you like a full 90 seconds and bright. It is bright. You get to see everything, all the stitch marks, everything. It is actually to me, it's disgusting. It's unsettling. It makes me uncomfortable. And I ended up having to turn the movie off. Now I knew how it ended because I had come across the movie on YouTube. I had come across the ending where they put him into a zoo. But I managed to finish the rest of the movie finally. I decided I was going to power through and finish it and make a second video to follow up how I feel about it. And I still feel a big old what the fuck type of thing with that movie because it is something else. I mean, it was definitely made as it's obscure. Like it was made to be obscure, like turning people into walruses. What the hell is that? Why would you turn? Why a walrus of all things? Like the villain's monologue is, "It's better to be a walrus," and it goes, "Why? What? Why? I can't think of any reason why that's better for whatever reason. I don't know, but it's if you want to watch a psychological horror movie and you get you get uncomfortable easy, watch that movie. The movie actually made me really uncomfortable, and honestly, I can still thoroughly enjoy it. Like I enjoy a lot of horror movies. I didn't like hate it. I didn't turn it off because I hated it. To be honest, the suspense and kind of the build up to the reveal is kind of what I enjoy about it. But it's the idea of no hope because, like I said in the previous video, it's not his girlfriend or whatever coming to save him before he gets turned into a walrus. He gets turned into a walrus whether he likes it or not, and that's really what bothers me. In all honesty, it's disgusting. It makes me feel a little sick, and I had to turn it off. Now at the end of the movie, the bad guy who turned him into a walrus puts on his own walrus suit. So he doesn't. So the character is turned into a walrus. Like he is reconstructed into a walrus, and the other guy puts on a walrus suit, and they have to fight. He's trying to teach the main character to be a walrus, and he ends up actually killing the bad guy. Ends up actually winning the fight and killing him. And the thing that's kind of sad about it is when his girlfriend or whatever find him, there's another guy with them, and obviously the girlfriend's like screaming because of what she sees. It's horrifying. Now, to be honest, if I saw that in real life, I'd be horrified. I'd be mortified. I think that would break me mentally. I think it'd break a lot of people mentally, honestly. But he's like, the other guy that's with him has a shotgun, is getting ready to go shoot him. And honestly, that's like the best case scenario because who could live like that? And what ends up happening is they decide not to shoot him, and they put him in a zoo for some fucking reason. So yeah, the ending is absolutely and utterly just depressing. Instead of putting him out of his misery, which they honestly would have been like the best case scenario for him, they put him in a zoo and they just go visit him. And it is so awful. Like it is so, like that's the worst thing you could do for anybody. If you knew somebody who went through that and was turned into an animal, I mean, so I feel like putting them in a zoo is not what you want to do, or letting them continue living like that, I guess. So this movie, I think, does a good job, kind of with psychological horror, because essentially what this guy's doing, this guy's living as a walrus. And one thing I forgot to mention that I really didn't think about mentioning is his name is Wallace. The main character's name is Wallace. Walrus, just kind of something I forgot to mention. I should have mentioned in the first video or earlier in this one. But when they go find when they find him, they go to kill him. They go to shoot him, and obviously they don't, and they just put him in a zoo. And it's like, why? Why do that above anything else? That just seems like that is literally letting someone just suffer. And I don't know. I think the point of that scene obviously is to add a little bit more of the horror or kind of uncomfortable aspect to it, because they go to visit him and it takes place a year after they find him, and his girlfriend tosses him a fish, and he starts eating it, and she's like yelling at him, and this guy firmly believes he's a walrus now. Like, he believes he is a walrus. It's so crazy to me. No, there's no ending for that movie that could be happy, whether they would have killed him or whether they would have, or they did end up letting him live in a zoo. And there's no happy ending here. I kind of wish I didn't know this movie existed, because there's just something unsettling about it that really does make me uncomfortable. Like, I can't imagine having, like, a friend that got turned into a walrus and letting him live, but also at the same time you can kind of understand they don't want to. You don't want to kill him either. You don't want to. They don't want to lose him. I mean, technically he's already lost because he's a fucking walrus now. But I don't know. This whole movie, I managed to finish it. Still makes me uncomfortable. I just had to follow up with the fact that I was able to finish it, because in the previous video I talked about how I was not able to finish it, and I finally was. It took me a little bit, but I managed to sit back down, get some more time to just clip some time to sit down, finish it, and get through it. And it's depressing. The ending is depressing. If you want to watch a movie that may psychologically score you or whatever, check it out. Feel free to check it out. I mean, it's not too terribly bad. I will admit the scripts. If you focus on more the movie making itself, the script isn't the best. Sometimes the acting isn't the best. But I mean, for the most part, if you like psychological horror movies, feel free to check that one out. It's not too terribly bad. I'm not gonna say it's too terribly good either. I will say it's decent. I can sit. Okay, I can't say I could sit down and watch it. I didn't stop watching it because the acting was bad. I stopped watching it because it actually made me uncomfortable, but that's beside the point. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I'll see you later in a brand new one. Have a good day. Thank you so much for watching. Check out some merchandise link in the description, and as always, stay awesome.